So please welcome Mr. Mark Ward.
Yeah, you think working with the NTC in Tripoli is hard. Try running a girls' high school in rural Kenya when you're 21 years old. That was quite an experience. Well, everybody, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I've been in the Foreign Service a very, very long time. Look at me. But the highlight has really been these last 4 months where the United Nations asked me to go and help them with their new mission in Tripoli. And I've spent most of the last 4 months there. I mean, it really has been terrific. Let me begin tonight by reading to you the statement from the White House today that's for you, so I better read it to you. The United States congratulates Chairman Jalil, Prime Minister Al-Hib, and all the people of Libya on the first anniversary of their historic revolution. With the support of the United States and an international coalition, the Libyan people defeated a brutal regime and won their freedom. Today, the Libyan people are enjoying new liberties, expressing themselves freely, debating new laws, joining civil society organizations, and preparing for the first free and fair elections in the country's history. Libya's natural wealth can finally be invested in the people's future. Libya's emerging democracy and its institutions will take time to build, and the United States stands ready to assist the Libyan people as they shape their future. The Transitional National Council and government should take full advantage of this historic moment by making decisions openly and transparently. And the revolutionaries who fought so hard for liberty, and I know some of you are here tonight, now have a responsibility to protect their freedoms by working with the government to establish stability, peace, and reconciliation. Protecting the rights of all the Libyan people will help preserve the unity of purpose that defined this revolution. We'll never forget the voices, images, and sacrifices from Libya over the last year, and we're very grateful to the American service members and civilians who helped save lives and stand up to tyranny. The United States was proud to support the Libyan people in their revolution last year and looks forward to building a close friendship with a free Libya in the years to come. Now, back to me. Thanks so much again for inviting me to this wonderful event on this very historic weekend. It's a great honor to be here, particularly to follow after Samantha. And it's been a great honor and a real highlight of my career to get to work on Libyan issues really since the revolution began, because at the time I was the head of something called the Office of Foreign Disaster Assistance at USAID, the United States Agency for International Development, something you all support when you pay your taxes, and please keep it up. We were providing humanitarian aid, particularly into the eastern part of the country when the revolution began. The events of this last year really have been historic. The courage and dedication of the Libyan people as they fought to end 4 decades of Gaddafi's rule is going to impress history students around the world for generations to come. I'll never forget the courageous people in Ajdabiya, in Misrata, west of Benghazi, west of Tripoli. And I don't want to take anything away from the rebels, but it wasn't just the rebel fighters. It was the courageous people who supported them too. The communities, the caregivers in those communities, the mothers, the fathers, the NGOs, your new NGOs, the Libyan NGOs who kept the clinics open as best they could despite the continuous bombardment. And I was so proud And I was so proud as an American taxpayer, and I know you were, of the NGOs that we were funding with our tax dollars, who never ran away from the fight, who stayed perched on the outskirts of these cities day after day, week after week, and waited for a moment when the fighting let up and they could race inside, usually at night, to restock the clinics and then get the hell out again before the fighting started. And we kept quiet about them at the time because, frankly, we were afraid for their welfare as the fighting continued. But we can't keep quiet about them anymore. They were all heroes together. I also want to, as Samantha did, salute all of you for your role as the Libyan American community in ensuring that what was going on in Libya was brought to the attention of those of us in government at the highest levels, even into the Oval Office. The strength of the United States is its diversity. My gosh, look at this room for an example of that. And I'm so glad that this Libyan community here was able to organize and express itself so effectively during such a critical time in Libya's history. Most of you know of our efforts to rally the international commitment to prevent Gaddafi from committing atrocities against the Libyan people. Secretary Clinton worked so hard to ensure that her counterparts around the world knew what was going on, knew the urgency of acting and acting quickly. We recognized the TNC as the legitimate governing authority of Libya in July 2011. I was there. I was sitting behind her in Istanbul. I'll never forget that moment. And we persistently called on all of our allies to similarly reject Gaddafi and support the new authorities working for freedom and democracy. And we were all so happy when we saw the new Libyan flag flying at the United Nations during the UN General Assembly in September. Finally. Finally, Libya took its rightful place as a proud member of the international community. Over this past year, we responded to the humanitarian needs during the crisis, as I said, providing more than $140 million in aid. And we continue to help, securing loose weapons, demining, supporting these emerging civil society organizations, and very importantly, helping to prepare for the elections. We brought the 22 wounded warriors to one of our finest rehabilitative hospitals north of Boston in late October. Ambassador Ojali and I were there that night at Logan Airport when this enormous U.S. Air Force jet landed in a snowstorm from Tripoli. The snowstorm was in Boston, not the one in Tripoli a few months later. That was quite a night. Imagine you were one of these young men. You got on the plane 13 hours earlier. It's a sunny afternoon in Tripoli. You fly nonstop in this cavernous jet for 13 hours, perhaps your first time on an airplane. You land late at night, it's cold, it's snowing, and the hospital is in a town called Salem, Massachusetts, on the weekend of Halloween. Now imagine you're looking out the window of your van going from Logan to the hospital and you see a parade of witches. Ambassador Ojali, where have you brought us? Our timing was impeccable. When we got to the hospital, with these brave young men, you were there. It was so heartwarming to see the Libyan American community, even the local imam was there, to welcome these patients, these heroes, with warm hugs and warm coats. Hamdi, where are you? Hamdi Solomon and his volunteers were terrific that night. Looking forward, we are going to help, we are going to continue to support the transition to democracy in Libya and work with the Libyan people as they face the difficult challenges ahead. We're not going to underestimate, and I know you won't, the hard work involved in setting up elections for the first time in decades, revitalizing an economy that was neglected by Gaddafi, and ensuring that human rights and the rule of law are respected. Now, as I said, I had the highlight of my career when the UN asked me to go work in Tripoli and work directly with the new government over the last 4 months on some of the challenges that Samantha mentioned. I've been so impressed by their commitment and the sincerity of the Libyans working with them to build a new country. And what's particularly impressed me, and I think you'll be proud of, is the willingness of the new government to accept criticism. Not from me. In the spirit of democracy and openness, they're so open to other views. And I'll never forget this one day. I was sitting with Deputy Prime Minister Mustafa Abu Shugur, and we were talking about the new elections law, which is not really the responsibility of the government, but the responsibility of the council. And there was a demonstration outside on the street, as there is most days. And it was very peaceful, but it was very loud. And they were complaining about, arguing something about the new law. And I mentioned this to him, and he sat back in his chair and this wonderful grin on his face. And he said, "This is great. This is the way it's supposed to be." Samantha and others have mentioned the wonderful emergence of civil society. These groups that were banned by Gaddafi have sprung up all over the country in record numbers, and they're already playing a role. I helped the government organize a workshop at the end of January where we brought together government priorities with representatives of the international community to try to see where we on the international community side could help. And the Deputy Prime Minister said, "I want to have the NGOs there." Boy, were they there. They practically took over the workshop. But what was terrific was the representatives of the government that were there welcomed them into every session, listened to them, gave them the time, and their voice was heard. Now, I've got one piece of business to do that's unrelated specifically to Libya, and that is to talk to the young people. Are there any young people here tonight? All right, good. Now, I'm going to make myself very unpopular with your parents. Your parents want you to grow up to be doctors and lawyers, right? Don't listen to them. Listen to me. I'm older, I'm wiser than your parents, certainly older. We need you in the Foreign Service. We need you to serve your country. We need you to serve your country around the world. We need a Foreign Service in this country, frankly, that represents the true diversity of this country and looks more like you and less like me. And I'm tired and I'm old and I need to retire anyway. So please, young people in the room, think about a career in the Foreign Service. Go to the websites for the State Department, for USAID. You can read about the process. But we need your energy. We need your brains. We need your language skills. Sorry, parents. And just one more one more thought before your salad. One of the great things about working in Tripoli for the last 4 months, I've made a lot of friends. And I got an email this morning from a young Libyan friend who's studying medicine at Tripoli University. And he described the scene to me last night in Martyrs Square when they shot into the air and fireworks in tribute to honor the martyrs who chased Gaddafi away. Their sacrifice will always inspire us. Thank you all very much for your service to Libya and to our country. Congratulations.